You're listening to another episode of Loud About Nothing. It's me, your boy, the hottest dude in the podcast game, Sebastian Conelli. And as always, per usual, we got the cute boy, he himself, Robbie boy. Robbie, say hello to beautiful people.
What's going on, beautiful people?
Okay, officially done with Game of Thrones. GOT, check, completed, task finished.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations is necessary. Now, here's the thing.
Okay.
The biggest disappointment for me about the ending of Game of Thrones was how the hype around how bad it was.
Okay.
I did not think it deserves the criticism and the hype that it got online. The amount of people that told me, stop watching this show right now in the middle of the whole damn show because the ending is so bad was monumental.
Okay.
There were so many people that told me it was the worst ending of all time. The hype around how bad the ending of Game of Thrones is overhyped.
Okay. I have thoughts about this.
Well,
I have a lot of thoughts.
I think what it is they waited for years and years and years.
That's my thought.
To see it. But what you have to understand is if you're a current viewer of Game of Thrones, we don't have to wait, babes. We get it instantly. And you watch it and you go, yeah, that was another hour of my life.
That was bad, yeah.
And
well, people
wasn't even that
wasted
bad.
8 to 9 years of their lives. Like, people were so invested in it. People had fantasy leagues. People had every season. They had watch parties. People this was their joy. When Game of Thrones was on TV, it was like a different chemistry in the body.
Well,
that's what was happening during the time.
I understand that.
I'm gonna say some spoilers. So if you have not seen Game of Thrones and you plan to watch it and don't want any spoilers at all, we do like a little segments and just skip to the next segment of the pod. People thought Jon Snow was dead for a whole year because he died, and then he doesn't come back to life.
And he was dead for me
He was dead for you for 12 seconds.
For a day.
Yeah, not even. I'm sure.
No, I took a day off.
One day you took a day off after he died.
I took a day off after he died. I go, can't believe one of my favorite characters is dead.
No, this
next
was,
day
yeah.
he's
So people had ideas in their head. It's a different watching experience, I would say, that what you had and what other people had.
And we need to be aware of that watching experience.
The last episode, I agree that I only think the last episode is really painful. Just like when they're all standing trying to choose the leader, and it's so corny. It's almost like an improv show, of these people standing, cheating out. Everyone is perfectly positioned in the middle of this arena, and they're like, all right, we're gonna decide the next. And it's all right, that's kind of the whole show is about, and that's how they decide to do it. Is corny, but all the other shit. I mean, the way they killed off, I think they felt pressure to kill off characters or whatever because everyone was so invested in certain people dying. So I thought the way that they killed a lot of the characters off was kind of annoying.
I didn't.
You didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it at all.
What
character did you think was annoying?
I guess Cersei and Jaime.
You know what? I loved it because they lived a life in secret, hidden in the basement of their emotions, hiding their love, and they died as a secret underneath everyone together.
Sure. But it just felt too. I don't know. It
felt too what? They
were doing crowd fan service. I don't know. It was just corny to me. Oh, that was corny.
How was it corny?
I thought it was corny.
But how? Because I told you what I enjoyed about it. So can you tell me what you found corny about it?
It felt forced.
I think it would have been forced if they stabbed each other and they died kissing.
I don't think they both needed to die. They felt like they needed to kill. I think they were just all right, we got to kill half of these characters.
She needed to die.
Cersei needed to die, sure. And you think Jaime needed to die.
Because every choice he made throughout that show was for her. So, of course, he dies with her.
Yeah, and then Bran becomes the king. It's just a little corny. It's all the first episode.
Let's continue talking about deaths. Let's continue talking about. You want to talk about deaths? I didn't like the way they
killed my guy Varys. As you know, I told you this.
Sure, but then I told you this, that it was kind of poetic at the end because...
that was nice. I didn't know about that.
Because Tyrion touches him, and sweet. As a eunuch, you're not allowed to be at touch of other people. So, and that's why that moment's so special between them, is because he shows his love to him by just placing his hand on his arm.
Yeah, that's sweet. But he does not make a single slip up. His whole guiding philosophy of his life is one thing, and then at the end of this, they just kill him off because they needed to kill characters.
I
Like
think
he's
that
lived
he
through
made-
so many different realms. He's lived like
He made a
stakes
slip up.
have been high
He
his
made-
whole life,
He made a slip up because he had no one supporting him anymore.
but he's always kind of been operating in his own little world. I thought.
Okay.
I don't know. I just thought a lot of it. I thought the ending was kind of corny. I didn't hate that she burns the village. I don't hate that she, like, burns King's Landing. I didn't hate that.
If it ended with her burning the throne, it would have been a great ending.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
If it
I agree
ended with
you.
that.
I agree with you.
If it ended with that,
But in
then
that episode, I think Varys dies, which I didn't love. But still, I
episode
agree
before.
with you. Yeah, the Bells. I think the Bells is a good episode.
here's the thing.
What?
The ending after that was bad, but that's
Yes.
almost like the end of a book when they return home and they talk
Yes,
about the
that's-
bullshit
yes.
and they show you that they're going back to normal life.
I don't think they
So
needed to do that.
It already climaxed.
Yes,
So
I
then
agree.
they remind you that the cycle will return and begin.
Yes.
Right? Now here's the bad part about that scene. It's all I hate to throw them under the bus, but it's all bad actors. It's a scene filled
not
with
Tyrion. I don't think Peter Dinklage is a bad actor.
but he wasn't the star of that scene.
Okay.
When he wasn't even talking that much in that scene.
I watched it 5 years ago.
So-
I just have the visual in my head. I don't really
he's
remember
not in
what's
that.
said.
He's standing in front of them.
Okay.
And they're all faced towards him.
Okay.
And the discussion of who's going to be king is just made through a bunch of actors that have only had like 6 lines until the last episode of Game of Thrones.
I know. And they're in the most important scene.
And then everyone's like, "Oh, it's bad acting. It's a bad scene." I go, "No, it's bad acting, bad writing, bad staging."
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I think that like the idea of having Bran as becoming the ruler is a good idea. Bran as an actor, the first day he made the choice of being like dead inside.
I don't know if that's his choice.
He made that choice. A director should have said, cut. You're fired on the spots. Because wait, can I do an impression of Bran acting? Ready? Tell me anything.
Hodor. I can't find Hodor.
Hodor has been here in the present and the past.
Yeah, I mean, apathy is not apathy is not anything.
He's nothing. He just stares into the distance
and
says his lines like they're the most poignant thing ever.
Easy acting. Could not be an easier acting job.
Oh God, we might as well get when they say AI can't take over.
They could
acting,
take Bran's job.
When
correct.
they say AI can't take over actors, I look at Bran. I go, "We're
Yes,
at risk.
yes.
We're at risk."
I agree. I hope that it wasn't his choice. It's also he got hired
his
when he was
choice.
probably like 9 years old. They got rid of him for a season.
I'll
It
tell
was
you
a
this.
whole. It was a weird. The way that the TV show went, maybe with the books it was different, but the way the TV show went, it was a weird choice. The Bran thing.
If I was hired at 9 years old to be on Game of Thrones, I don't know. I maybe would have got an acting coach.
Yeah. Okay. You're right. You're right.
Maybe like what excuses
You're
are
right.
we making?
You're right.
You
You're
get
right.
hired
You're
to
right.
play in
Acting
the
is
NBA.
not even that
You're
hard.
18. Yeah, maybe you get a conditioning
I would
coach.
say NBA, yeah, harder than acting.
Of course. yes.
I do see what you.
Of
Of course.
you're getting paid.
Yes.
Invest this much into your money,
Yeah.
into your craft. I think the wildest thing was how much people hated online.
Yes.
It does not deserve the hate you're giving it. Everyone uses this that we need to enjoy the journey rather than the fucking destination.
Yeah.
You literally, that quote is thrown out the window
With Game of
because
Thrones.
there is 2 bad scenes ending the show. Everyone
Yes.
goes, don't watch the entire thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. People were mad. People felt like they were betrayed. People were mad. People were
Well,
mad
welcome.
at the showrunners I think it got personal too with like the fans and the showrunners. The showrunners got a bigger projects and then just kind of like did 6 episodes and then threw away this passion piece that a lot of people loved. But I agree with you. So you're saying Miley Cyrus the climb. It's not about how fast I get there. It's not about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. People need to remember the climb when they think about Game of Thrones.
It is truly about enjoying it, and I enjoyed
like-
it. And we have to remember the ending is just a moment. We can't judge a person's life by their death. We need to judge it by the way they lived, and we do not give that same grace to great Game of Thrones.
Okay, I agree with you. I also like what you said about how if they would have ended it with her burning down King's Landing, it would have been good, and ending at the climax is good because when I saw the end of Game of Thrones, one of my biggest takeaways, like almost immediately after, was like, wow, the ending of The Sopranos was incredible. Like, it really made me appreciate and like the ending of The Sopranos because they did the opposite.
Well, the Sopranos did this. They ended right before the climax.
But I like that better. They ended at the climax, presumably.
right
he
before.
has said that he dies at the end. Like that's
Yes.
Coney going to black and whatever. So like to
But
me,
here's the climax isn't the climax is what happens around him as he gets shot.
sure.
I think that
Or you're Tony. It's Tony's point of view for the, and that's it. It's dead. He's dead.
Well,
Maybe he's not. I don't know, but
I think he's dead, but I do think that
he's dead
part
too.
of the climax is seeing the chaos around it.
okay. So then they end it right the millisecond before the climax,
Right before the
which
climax.
I like more than I guess what Game of Thrones did.
Which does after the climax.
Yes,
but all those
but
movies, all those nerd movies with like Lord of the Rings, there's 30 minutes they go back to the friar and
I've
they go,
never
oh
seen it,
yeah,
I've
what do you
never
want,
seen it.
stew for dinner?
Yes,
like
yes.
all these fantasy movies.
okay, so it's more of a genre decision, you think,
You know why? Because there's greedy little fucks.
and they're books.
And they want more.
Yes.
They go, oh, if we return to the friar and we like say that life's continuing,
Then we can do another one.
Then we could do another one.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it
interesting.
is.
Yeah,
They go, oh, we'll return, and then maybe people will want more.
yeah.
We'll show you that life goes on, and
Yeah.
maybe that means my paycheck could go on too.
Yes, for sure. That.
But I think that we're last
too
two
harsh.
scenes were bad.
okay.
Who cares? The rest of the show is great. People watch it. Do not listen to the haters online.
Okay.
Those haters have other issues inside of them.
The people that I know that watched it after and that are more in the same boat as me, of like the only season I watched live was the last season, feel similarly. Like
Yeah.
I mean, how mad could you be? Like
You
you
can't.
it ends up being the thing of I wasted an hour, or maybe 2 hours if you don't like Daenerys. Like it's weird. I just wish they played in the world of Jon having this information and the whole Targaryen stuff. Like I would have liked to see more of that. But they wanted to wrap it up. They had bigger fish to fry, but then they lost those fish to fry.
Yeah, I agree, disagree. I don't know. I don't think it was
You
that
thought
bad.
it was fine?
Yeah.
You didn't need that much more of Jon Snow knowing he was a Targaryen, or
No.
they built up this whole big winter's coming, the war, whatever, and it's like one episode. You don't
I
care.
thought the episode was epic.
Yeah, it
But
was.
also there was stuff that happened before that.
yeah, yeah,
Also, I didn't want to see 8 episodes of them just fighting.
the White Walkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can't do just of the fight. You eventually have to do the war, one war episode, but I guess more, I don't know, White Walker interaction.
They said nothing to say.
That's true. I
These
guess
are
you're
boring
right.
ass people.
Yeah.
You know what spin-off they're not doing?
Yeah.
The White Walkers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that would
Because
be
they're just going to go.
zombie shit. Yeah, and I don't even like zombies that much.
Me neither. That's
Yeah, I
all it
guess you're
was.
right. Yeah.
Like, how much White Walker do we need?
Yeah.
Any zombie movie's not focused on the zombies. It's the
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, you're right.
And there was plenty of battles with the White Walkers before. They were stuck in the middle of that lake. They were fighting. They stabbed them. One snuck into beyond the wall.
Yeah.
Right?
There was some White Walker
So
stuff
there's White Walker
sprinkled in.
stuff. Sprinkled in.
But so you liked it.
Yeah. I'll say this.
What?
I loved the ending of Game of Thrones. I loved the ending of Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And I think it might, minus the last 2 scenes, it might have been an absolute epic ending to a show.
Okay.
Minus the last 2 scenes where they
Yes.
do like, oh, we're just going to have like tell you life returns to business.
Yeah.
It was a tremendous ending. I
Wow.
didn't even hate the last season. I think that everyone should go and watch it. I might say skip the first couple of seasons.
I will say this. I wouldn't do that. The episode that I've rewatched the most is the Bells, the one where she just lights up King's Landing.
Incredible.
Like I got a new TV. That's like the first thing when I got the new TV. That's mad nice. I'm like so excited to get this TV. I tossed that episode on because
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I just want to watch a dragon burn a city,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. Like, I didn't hate that at all.
And
either.
everyone's like, we need to see
Yeah.
more dragons in the show. We saw the dragons are fine. They're not
Yeah.
the most interesting thing ever.
No,
It's like
I like
to
them
see.
in the new show. I mean, I watched one season of the new show, but
Yeah.
I like the idea of dragons, and that was probably the biggest thing that
Can I tell
before
ya-
watching Game of Thrones, I was like, I'm not into the fantasy shit. I don't care about the dragon. Like, you
Sure.
know what I mean? That was like my biggest deterrent. But then after watching it and like getting in the world, the dragons are awesome. I love the dragons, her dragons. The 3 dragons she has are the smallest dragons in the Targaryen world, like by a long shot. I don't know if you've seen those like comparison videos.
No, I haven't.
But all the
But
dragons in the new show are like
season 2, you
they've
see.
gotten because she's towards the end of dragons
They
existing.
get
I guess.
smaller.
Yeah,
Well,
Daenerys.
if you think about how big beavers used to be into what they are now,
Really, I didn't know that.
beavers used to be buildings.
Like close to bears. Oh,
beavers used to be buildings.
No way.
Bro, I swear to God, beavers were the size of buildings walking around with huge tails.
Is this real?
I swear
I have no idea if this is
to
real.
God.
Okay.
Bro, I don't know how to explain this to you more than that beavers were buildings and they would walk around these 20-foot giant monsters
Okay.
that were just cute. And then they said, I guess we'll shrink them down. And they slowly got smaller.
I did not know this. Giant beaver. Let me see. Oh, wow. I mean,
This is, see,
I don't know if I'm calling this buildings, but bigger than a human.
I mean, they were 15 feet.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow.
That's the size of a one-story building.
Yeah. Yeah. This is saying 2.5 meters, but yeah.
Well, anyway, dude, sometimes I think I'm smart, but then I was watching The House of Dragons, and I did have to Google, do dragons exist?
I mean,
It's convinced me enough that I've thought
they're dinosaurs.
but
Dinosaurs
dinosaurs
existed.
didn't breathe fire.
That's the only thing.
But that's the big thing.
That is the big thing with the shows.
With everything, the appeal of a dragon is the fire.
Yeah.
So I guess I did have to Google watching the show, do dragons exist? And I'll tell you this, when you get the answer, you've never wanted to clear your search history faster.
It's not a crazy Google.
I know,
What
but
do they say?
they say no, but not fire-breathing dragons, but kimono dragons exist, and
Okay.
large lizards exist. And
Like flying things that looked exactly like dragons minus the fire breathing. But it's in lore of a lot of different cultures, so who knows?
yeah,
You don't know if dragons existed or not.
I mean,
Maybe there was a Sebastian Conelli in those times telling stories. Maybe a slight exaggeration. I don't know where this all starts.
you're right.
I know we talked about Brat recently on the podcast, and I want to say this because I'm seeing so much Brat content now of just on all sides of the spectrum of all people trying to talk about Brat. Brat is a millennial story, and I think it's a beautiful millennial story. I think it's vulnerable. I think it's relatable. I think it's fun, and I think that Gen Z is relating to it, obviously. I think that Gen Z is interested in it, and Gen Z likes the millennial story that is Brat, which I think it's Charlie reflecting on her 20s and where she is as an early 30s woman, which I kind of said the last time. But it's strange to me to see the millennial response, which is either make it corporate or I'm too old for this. Where I'm like, it's actually millennials should feel good because it's our experience. It's our story. It's kind of like where we're at in the world, and it's really resonating with a lot of people, and it's done in a nice way that I think is fun and beautiful.
Well, let's talk about corporate Brat first.
Okay. Corporate Brat is just so cringe. It's the worst millennial response to this album.
But
is
it
this corporate
is
Brat.
so millennial.
Yeah, and I'm
It
just
is-
I don't want to but that's not what makes it cool or resonates with people.
Yeah.
Is not that.
It's truly like being like, oh, it's Brat to check your bags here at American Airlines.
So ridiculous. Time Out
it's-
New York is just like, all right, there's 3 green products that you could buy in New York. That's what's having a Brat summer.
I love when someone's so not cool that they just go, how can I buy my way into this?
Yeah.
You know, right? It's like,
It's not. They're just missing the point.
like some of the worst brands are now calling stuff Brat.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, Preparation H. Make sure that asshole isn't itchy.
Yeah.
It's a Brat summer. You know,
It's so strange.
It's truly like I want cool brands to hop on.
Yes.
Adderall's Brat.
Yes. I mean,
Adderall
I guess
is Brat.
Adderall is Brat. I don't need them to hop on.
Nah.
It's about the story. It's the storyteller. I care about the view of the storyteller.
Health first.
Yes.
Brat it up.
It's Brat, I think, to go on like social media and just like talk about how you feel pretty openly and just say how you feel. That would be Brat, I guess.
When I re-sign my lease, if they include the word brats in any of
That's
it,
wild.
I am going to freak out.
Yeah. I mean, she has a song where she's like, oh, should I have a kid or not? She has a song where sympathy is a knife. She's like, I'm tired of getting fucking felt bad for. That's not where I want to be in this world.
Well,
She has a song about like a falling out that she had in her 20s that she's coming to reckon with. She has a song that's like trying to make herself feel more confident as a 30-year-old, like, I don't know, or that confidence that you have to, as millennials, we have to fucking access the whole time of our 20s and just like what the fuck the world is.
can I tell you what is happening, I think?
What do you think is happening?
I think that it sounds like party music.
Which it is party music.
Great.
And I think it's her like, am I still partying? Like, we talk about this shit all the time of like, I don't know what we kind of just had COVID happen, and this party phase of our life is like, all right, are we out of it? Are we in it? What's going on? Are we like?
And I think
that side of the, I guess, millennial experience.
Well, I think that the music sounds like Gen Z music, and the
Yes.
topics are millennial topics.
They are millennial topics.
So that's what I
Exactly.
think is happening.
But-
and the Gen Z, this is so sad when people get old and they can't hear music anymore.
Yeah, I also don't necessarily agree that it's just Gen Z music. I think this pop has been popular since pop is like, this is very much of this hyper pop, whatever pop movement that has existed pretty much throughout our 20s in a lot of ways.
It's hard after working. You know what? Let me give you a scenario.
What?
Rob.
Just because it's on TikTok doesn't mean it's Gen Z. There's
me give you
so
a
many
scenario.
songs. What's up?
Let me give you a scenario.
Okay.
Right? You work all day.
Yes.
You're a dental hygienist. You work all day, all night. You got to.
Since when do dental hygienists have graveyard shifts? Who's coming in to get their teeth cleaned at 2 a.m.?
Oh God, my teeth are a little dirty. I need you. Are you open? It's 2 a.m.
Yeah.
They're a little bit placky. So okay. How about this? Right?
Okay.
You work. You are. You work as a office manager, right?
Yes, okay.
For say a company that sells insurances,
Okay.
right? You're an office manager for a company that sells insurances. You're there all day, just sending emails, managing people's appointments.
Okay.
You go home and you go to look at your groceries. You can't afford any groceries, right? So you go,
Okay.
damn, okay, so let me just cook something because my cholesterol is high. So let me make sure that I make something low cholesterol, right?
Okay.
And then you're finally home. You finally cooked for yourself. You're alone. You don't have any love. You know what's hard to do?
What?
Listen to a pop song.
Okay.
That's what it
Sure.
is. It's millennials are having this it's hard for them to listen
But
to a pop song
I'm not
because
fully-
their
okay.
life isn't poppy.
Sure.
Yes.
I see that. Sure. I think, though, I don't necessarily agree because to me, the millennial response has been to lean in on the fucking insurance. I just sent 15 emails. I'm so Brat. Like, I think that is kind of the millennial response to this
Yes.
is more like make it corporate than like embrace the actual story, which is the vulnerability and the fun aspect of it. Like, lean into the fun, lean into the vulnerability. We don't need to make it so corporate. We don't need to make it about all these corporate things. I don't think they're like, oh, I sat in my fucking room and decided whether or not I should have kids for an hour. Not decided, but like thought about whether or not I should have kids for 2 hours on Sunday. That's kind of Brat. Then also so is like going out and partying and being like, oh, I don't know if I should do this anymore. I mean, I think that is what is connecting with people. Or like, I want to run away to the airport. That's a popular song. That's like, I mean, that's so millennial. Is that not millennial? Of it's just like, all right, we don't know what the fuck to do. We're just gonna go to the airport and go on a trip because that's kind of our escape.
Yeah. Because
but
we could just throw it on the card.
I guess
You could just throw it on the card.
That's kind of,
Millennials-
this is what we had to do. This is our experience. That's why I think it's doing so well and connecting with people. So for millennials to have this response, yeah. What were you gonna say? Millennials what?
Millennials love just throwing it on the card. We were raised by people that taught us when things are bad, you throw it on the card.
I mean, yeah.
Which is ruining us deeper.
Sure, but it's all.
But you need to.
Everyone
sometimes.
around us is doing that.
Yes.
The world, the politicians, the rich people, everyone is doing that. We don't take care of the earth. We're throwing it on the card. We're throwing everything
on the card.
Everything is getting thrown on the card in every aspect. All these businesses are growing, like they're getting $100 million loans. All these pizzerias in New York City now have 100 locations. How does that happen? They get a bunch of fucking
throw it
money
on the card.
from a bank, and they're just like, "Fuck it, we're gonna figure it out."
Because to throw it on the card, one, Very Buddhist.
Sure. I mean, you're betting on yourself in an incredible way. I'm going to outperform 20% a year.
I don't think they're thinking of it like that.
Correct.
Right? Throwing it on the card for a trip to Cancun is not quite betting on yourself.
I'll figure this out.
That's you betting on some margaritas in your bloodstream, right?
Yes.
So for me, we are truly a generation of people that throw it on the card.
Yes.
We go, we'll think about it later. We'll think about it later. And you know what's beautiful?
What?
Later might never happen.
Well, it's more and more seems like that.
It's actually wonderful that I'm learning later might never happen, and we could just keep throwing it on the card.
Well, that's kind of what. Yeah.
Life is like I hate to say it, but like,
yes,
throw it on the card mentality might have been the right approach for it all.
That's what Trump's approach is. That's always been his approach. And he just goes bankrupt. He has so many things where he's just been like, I'll throw it on the card.
And it's never been a concern.
He doesn't pay it back. He does not pay his bills. He's done so many things. Airlines, colleges, flights, casinos. There's a Trump hotel in Vegas, and there's no casino because they won't give him a gaming license.
Incredible.
Because, no, that's the millennial mindset for sure. But on the flip side, I see like Time Out New York did that post, which I think is stupid.
What post?
The post where they're like, this is what's Brat, and it's just a bunch of corporate partnerships, which I'm like, you are completely missing the point of this album. And then to see millennials commenting on it and being like, this isn't for me, this is only for people born after 1995. They're like so poo-pooing it. And I'm like, you dumbasses, this is literally your life experience. This is an album about your life that Gen Z is connecting to, and you're just repelling it for some reason because, I don't know, there's this subset of millennials and I always have defended millennials. I love millennials, but it frustrates me that there's a subset of millennials that's obsessed with just like, I'm a boomer now. I have a house. I don't know. They're just like, I can't connect with the generation below me. Like, I don't
think
understand.
that millennials are sadly at this point where it's a really tipping point where a lot of people have decided to become old and some have decided to still stay young.
Okay.
And I don't think it actually matters what age millennial you are, but
I agree, yeah. It's all the range.
Yeah,
all of us at this point, all the millennials are just about 30.
Have chosen.
Yeah.
Some are
late 20s.
Late 20s to late 40s.
The youngest,
or late 30s.
Yeah, the youngest millennials are like 28. The oldest are like 40, 41.
Yeah, and there is a gap in millennials, a divide between who is staying young and who has decided that they want to figure out what is the best sod for their yard.
It annoys me because it's never been easier, I feel, for us to connect with the generation below us because the generation below us loves so much of the same shit that we love. We've never had such an overlap, I feel, with the generation below us. They like our artists. They like the things that were popular when we were kids. What was popular when we were kids is still what's popular. For better or worse, it was making me sad. The other day I get high and I'm like, it's so sad that what was popular when I was a kid is still what's the most popular shit. And I don't necessarily, I'm now trying to have like a more positive attitude around that, but it feels like we have, it's so much easier for us to be like kind and understanding and accepting of this new generation. And it makes me annoyed when people are so negative about it.
About
like Gen Z. And they want to create this big divide. Like, I can't look at this Brat stuff. Like, this isn't for me. People commenting, oh, I'm too old for this. I'm too old for this. Bro, this is about our experience. And Gen Z loves it. And that's kind of beautiful.
Well, people were always too old for it.
What do you mean?
You never grew up with a kid that was old? You never grew up with an old kid?
Yes.
An old kid that didn't know how to have it to even enjoy what's in front of him?
Yes. But it's seeing it more and more is frustrating.
The old kid was so funny growing up.
I guess I didn't grow up with a lot of kids that were too...
Really?
Not really.
Oh,
I mean, Staten Island, everybody's trying to be too cool.
Yeah, that's what
it's like an apathy competition.
Yeah, it was people would always try to like act like they didn't like stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I guess that's not the people that I was around for the most part that were acting. Like, we were in the mix. We liked what we liked.
But I do think that a lot of the younger generations are enjoying stuff, and I do think that's...
I mean, we're on Minions 4. We're on Toy Story 5. Pokemon has never been bigger. Like, I was thinking Nintendo kind of just made Mario, Pokemon, Kirby, Zelda, they have their big institutions, and they just keep focusing on making them great, bringing them to the new generation, advancing on these concepts. They don't really need a ton of new stuff. Animal Crossing, the stuff that's been popular. My little cousins that are 12 years old have the same interests that I had at 12 years old.
Well, Nintendo does a good job. They're like a sandwich shop that just sticks to 5 sandwich. Like they're like, I'm just gonna keep trying to make these sandwiches as good as possible,
and they're doing a good job at
rather
it.
than being like
yeah.
someplace that like is continuously like, oh, I hear a brioche is popular. We got to get brioche.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
But I also do think there is I wish more risks were taken.
I do. That's kind of where I feel like, oh, is the new generation getting like gypped a little bit, where they're not getting any new IP that's really like defining their generation?
What they do get is social media.
Social media is what they have.
We don't understand the impact of
growing up on social media
of YouTube, of like these YouTube stars that they're obsessed with.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to learn a little bit more about it.
Yeah,
but you're right. Because when I'm learning about it, it is really blowing my mind. And some of these YouTube stars, it is crazy to me because they're just living the Truman Show. Their whole life is a television show.
Do you know the Truman Show is supposed to be scary?
That's what I think. It's scary. When I watch it, it is scary to me. And the concept of it being real and people voluntarily wanting it is crazy to me. And I have been thinking about it.
But here's the thing.
What?
Like, if saying that, we that you inch your way towards being corporate Brat Summer.
What?
Being like, you know what I mean?
I mean, it's more, I'm just like the constant exposure, turning every aspect of your life. What's the brain effect on turning every aspect in your life into content or a television show, basically?
Yeah.
An entertainment piece meant to be consumed by strangers.
Uh-huh.
Like, I think that starts to just get, I mean, in Truman, he didn't know he was in the Truman Show.
No, because
he wasn't willingly.
No
like, it was such a concept.
It.
Yeah, exactly. That you would think nobody would sign up for it. Meanwhile, people are like, my dream is to be the star of the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Which that is a divide, I think, of our generation, obviously. But
I think that has to do with psychology and like how that affects your brain.
Yeah.
And how you feel, like happiness.
Yeah.
I don't think Brat Summer has to do with happiness.
No. I just think, going back to my point though, it should be so easy for us to connect with the younger generation because they're so interested. It's like, oh, I was there when Pokemon started. And it's so cool to me when it's like, oh, I came in like 10 years in, but people still have such an appreciation and they love and like are like yearn for the originals. Like they are like, oh, it's so cool that you were there when this started. This is so cool. Toy Story 1, I was alive for. It's like, all right, these enterprises that are still like the kids were massively popular when I was a kid. And I like that. And I think it should be so easy for us to connect. Me and my dad did not grow up on the same toys. We did not grow up on the same stuff. Like, but it's very feasible. I had a kid now. It's not strange. He would be into Pokemon. If I go in all the toy stores around New York City, it's all Pokemon shit. It's all shit. It's Hello Kitty. It's all shit that was popular and made for me.
Yes, we millennials figured out how to do toys good.
Toys, video games.
Well, video games are toys.
Okay.
Right? We have to put that, right? Can we agree?
Yeah.
They have to be, right?
Right? I guess. I don't know.
They're a great toy.
Yeah, you're right.
The phone is a tool. The video game is no tool for anything.
Yeah.
So video games are a great toy.
Yeah.
Right? So I think our millennials, when we were kids, we figured out toys the best.
Toys and I guess media?
Maybe.
Cartoons, like it feels like so much of stuff is just sequels or just like referencing stuff that was popular when I was a kid. And I was thinking, I'm like, oh, are they just gearing this towards me? And it's like, no, your nephew is 6 years old, and you're like, oh, you guys like the same shit.
Well, I think that we have to remember who has the money.
Okay.
Adults have the money.
Not millennials. I mean, a little bit.
To buy a movie ticket.
Yeah, okay.
To buy a movie ticket,
yeah.
I mean, right?
Okay.
And so, like, what is a millennial rather going to see? A new movie that they don't know with their nephew? Or am I going to be more excited to see a movie I've never heard of with my nephew or Shrek 5 with my nephew?
Yeah, you want to see Shrek 5 because it's like you feel how you felt when it was Shrek. Yeah.
We're always looking for connection.
Yeah.
And I think that they're inherently, like, just feeding us into that connection.
Yes.
I think people look at it as nostalgia too much, as rather than something that is actually connecting us as people.
Which I think then we should lean in. If we're going to have all of this, then we should lean in and be like, embrace this connection instead of like trying to separate ourselves. It's never been easier for us to connect with the younger generation.
Which is nice.
And we should, I feel like, embrace that instead of like alienating ourselves from it.
Yeah, I think having connections great.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to do that. I'm making a plan to see Shrek 2 with my nephew.
That's fun.
Yeah.
And who knows where this ends, because it's just like, all right, if they grew up on Shrek and they have the connection of like, oh, my Uncle Ba, I want to show you. Are we just going to be making Pokemon and Shrek forever? Like, maybe. I don't even necessarily hate that, but it's cool then that all the shit that was made for me as a kid will just continue to exist and be the entertainment pieces forever.
Can I say something about Shrek 5?
What?
There's all these articles that Cameron Diaz is coming out of retirement to do Shrek 5.
Yes.
That is, can you believe she's coming out of retirement?
Cameron Diaz, one of my first celebrity crushes.
Right.
In The Mask.
Yeah. Yes. And it was Google. Incredible. So it's like, can you believe she's coming out of retirement to do Shrek 5? Right. That's a tribute to how good Shrek is. I am the biggest Shrek fan, but it's not a tribute to how good Shrek is.
Okay.
It is a tribute to how easy voice acting is.
Okay.
It is a tribute to how little, you know how easy it is to come out of retirement to play Fiona in a booth?
Yeah.
She shows up, she sits in a chair, she says, I like the room to be 71 degrees. It's 71 degrees, whatever water she wants. She works for 3 days, makes millions of dollars, and then goes home in sweats.
Yes.
This is not her coming out of retirement. Sure. This is her not being dumb.
Yeah.
This is her going, you know what? I'll buy a villa.
Yeah. I mean, the decision is more, I would say, based around if she want to do the press tour. Like, that is her coming out of retirement.
Yes.
The press tour will be a lot more work and, like, being in the public eye and all that. That will be actually
work.
What the decision of is like, all right, do I want to go back and do this would be the press tour, not the movie.
The movie, it's not like, wow, she loves Shrek so much. If she was like all of a sudden going to do a reboot of her old movie or a brand new movie starring Cameron Diaz, that's her coming out of retirement.
Yes.
This is her going, yeah, I'll play a pickup game.
Yeah.
This is Hey, Jordan, will you play basketball? Nah, I don't play no more. It's a pickup game. It'll only take 2 minutes and you get paid $3 million.
Yeah. Yeah, and it'll make a lot of people happy. Yeah, that's what it is.
So we can't, like, I love Shrek, but it's easy money.
Yeah.
It's easy money.
Speaking of which, I saw of this millennial stuff. I saw the most millennial shit ever on Instagram this weekend. And yeah, it was such a millennial collab, and I was like, all right, this on the surface makes absolutely no sense and is wild. But when I dug deeper, I was like, it actually makes total sense because this is my exact lived experience, which was there was Collecticon, the biggest Pokemon baseball card collecting conference of vintage Pokemon stuff in the country. And it's going on tour to a few different cities. And going on tour with them is the Ying twins. And I saw a video this weekend of the Ying twins singing Miss New Booty and a whole bunch of Pokemon fans around the stage watching the Ying twins. And then it pans and you just see the most Pokemon cards that you've ever seen in your life at this Collecticon, which is they are going on tour together. So like as the cards move, the kings of the Pokemon game and the Ying twins are going city to city. They got the tour, whatever the tour bus is or whatever's moving them around. And that is what is existing.
Tough. Yeah. It's good to realize that those things went together when we were young.
I would be playing on my Nintendo SP, Ruby and Sapphire, listening to Bubba Sparks, Booty, 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 Rockin' Everywhere on repeat when I was 12 years old. And I was like, oh, this is so funny. This makes no sense. Why would the Ying twins be at the Pokemon thing? And I'm like, wait a second. This is my life.
Yeah,
I would do that.
This is the reality of that, of all millennial cultures coming together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, it was funny. It was wild to just see, because on the surface, it makes no sense.
Except for the time period that they existed.
Except for the time period. But you asked me, 12-year-old me, Miss New Booty was one of my favorite songs, and playing Pokemon was one of my favorite pastime, like hobbies to do. So like, yeah, this is actually kind of perfect. And whoever runs Collecticon, I think you do a great job. It was 10 minutes from where I grew up, this thing.
Nice.
I'm like the Yin Yang twins and every single Pokemon card that's ever existed. Were 10 minutes from where I grew up. And I didn't go. I was so mad that I didn't. And I DM'd the kid. I'm like, I wish I would have known about this. And he was like, I posted about it like 5 times so local people would know all week. And I was like, oh, damn, I guess I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
Or didn't realize that the Ying Yang twins would be performing Miss New Booty in like a small room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had no idea. Now you know.
I'll post a video on, I'll put it on the YouTube.
Nice. But it is this idea of that things didn't always go together. We wouldn't expect to go together. We did live together.
Yes.
Did live together
For
in,
sure.
in our time period.
Yes.
Right? Like I would be in my velour jumpsuit singing the fray. Step 1, you say you need to talk.
With the
She says, sit down, it's just a talk. Getting high as balls, eyes shut, Sean John, drip, Grey's Anatomy in my mind.
Yeah, we've talked, Millennials had some of the craziest collabs in the world.
I mean,
and even we created them ourselves.
We allowed them, right?
Yeah.
Like there was, like it was incredible. I would be eating Surge and a salad from Burger King.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Why are we giving the most toxic soda and then trying to give a salad?
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a salad bar at Wendy's.
Yes, for sure.
Which is just like this. These are collabs that are like, what? You know?
I think this area too, we were just exposed to so many different things and cultures, and we kind of embraced it all.
It was nothing cool. Like there was nothing like blasting Jay-Z as you're on your way to Kumin.
No, that's real. People would do that.
Blasting Jay-Z, it's a hard knock life for us. And I'm like, I'm in Kumin level 4.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
That is exactly what it was.
I was Kumin level 4.
You were Kumin level 4?
And sometimes I had to let the song cry. That's it.
Yeah. We just got the heyday of all of this stuff.
Yeah, man. I mean, like,
and nothing was too nerd. Like, I think we were cool. Like, Dragon Ball Z was embraced. Like, all of these quote unquote nerd cultures and like the Disney of all this stuff was given to us, and we kind of embraced it all. Well, yeah, athletes, rap, cartoons, like all of it. We just kind of embraced it all.
And I think we were at a point where there was a lot, but not too much that you couldn't absorb it all. Like we knew the peak of everyone.
Yes.
Now there's just so much that whatever you're into, that's what you're into specifically.
Yeah, yeah.
So like you have niche. There's much more
we were
niche.
less in a box.
We didn't have the.
That's exactly the root of this.
We didn't have a chance to be niche because we just had mainstream version of everything.
Yes.
And it wasn't like in like earlier generations where they only had. I guess I like Happy Days because that's the show that's on TV.
Yes.
Like we got to like choose a little bit.
Yes.
But we only had the mainstream choices of everything.
Yes, exactly.
And now you could like be a niche person.
Yes. You don't have to relate to anyone, and you can get so deep under the rabbit hole. There weren't really rabbit holes when we were millennials. The holes were a lot deep, more shallow.
You know how many times I would hear fast cars playing through an Escalade?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it was just like
this was it. That was it. Yeah.
That was it.
Escalades were so popular.
Of course, I mean specifically where we were.
Yeah.
But that we allowed stuff to come together.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't expect.
And you would choose 5 or 6 options, and it wouldn't be that crazy.
Nah.
No, it was cool. I think we lived in a time that it will be remembered and is continuing to be like glorified. And I think millennials, we should embrace it and relate to other people around this instead of like, I don't know, just wanting to become a boomer so quickly.
I think that people just want, I mean, I talk about like wanting to feel comfortable getting older.
Yeah.
And sometimes like people want to feel old and they want to be respected. And I think they're looking at rather than create a new path to how to be aged respectfully.
Yeah.
They just look at the older generation, how to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's what's happening. But here's the thing. We're not giving the same opportunities as the older generation.
No.
We're not giving we don't need to do the same things that the crappy things that they did. We don't need to do that. So I think that we need to create our own path rather than be like, we could either be young or old.
Yeah.
How I said before, how millennials are splitting into two divides. I think that instead we could be aging
Yes.
and getting older and doing respectful things, working on ourselves, trying to create good in the world while still having a young spirit about us.
And it's the intrigue, like Avatar, Last Airbender, was one of the most popular TV shows during COVID. It's still massively popular. That's a millennial show. And it's like, oh, it's so easy. Just liking what you liked as a kid and just being open-minded to younger people also liking it. You'll be able to relate so much. Stop trying to create this divide to Gen Z. And to Gen Z, I appreciate that you guys like all the same shit that we like. It makes it so easy.
Yeah. Easy for what?
To relate to Gen Z, to be like,
Yeah.
I don't know. My cousin, like, it's so easy for me to relate to my little cousins. I just talk about the shit like, he's like impressed that I know 151 Pokemon. And I'm like, yeah, I've been knowing this shit for 20 years.
Nice.
So yeah, we don't. I that annoyed me seeing all these millennials like, yeah, I'm too old for this. I'm too old for this. You're not. Embrace it. Embrace what you like, and you'll be just fine.
Beautiful.
But the last thing I'll say on this matter, which I think underscores my point, the leading single on the album, Von Dutch, the hat I'm wearing. That's all I need to say. Is this not the most millennial shit? Von Dutch hats are millennial shit. That's the leading single of the album that everyone's obsessed with, and that is coming back. Like, what are we? That's what it is.
That is.
I'm just living that life, Von Dutch. This is not a Gen Z story.
Beautiful. There we go.
Millennials are dope. Just embrace it.
There you go. There you go. Wonderful. I like that, Rob.
What?
So not everything that's millennial it needs to come back though.
Okay. Like what?
I loved Echo so much, but I swear to God, if I see anyone of the younger generation wearing an Echo shirt, I'm gonna say, "You're hurting yourself." Don't do it. It hurts so bad.
Inform people. What is Echo?
Echo was a brand that was created by a young Jewish pharmacist.
A white man.
A white Jewish pharmacist created a brand of street art graffiti that was represented by a red, black, and white rhinoceros. And I would wear him on the daily.
Okay.
I was a Mark Echo freak. I was Echo. I would wear the Iron Man collabs. I was all about. One year for my birthday wore Echo from head to toe.
Okay.
I said, my mom says, "What do you want to do for your birthday this year?" I said, "I want to have every piece of me be Echo." I loved Echo so much.
Which was possible, everybody.
It was, because
it was very possible.
It's when brands said, "Screw it, we'll even make sneakers," even though we have no place in that regard.
Sneakers, socks, sunglasses, hats, tees, literally everything.
Everything.
Everything could be Echo.
I wore everything Echo that year, and I have to say, I looked horrible.
Okay.
I wore Echo so much, I became a rhinoceros, people.
You embodied the rhino.
At one point, I went to the store, and they said, "You are the Echo."
You became the Echo Rhino.
I went to put something on, and it just disappeared as I put the shirts on because I became the rhinoceros. I said, "Who am I?" And then someone goes, "Oh, I'll have him in a size large," and pointed to me. And that's why I knew I needed to get out of Echo.
Okay.
Probably one of the cringiest brands that ever existed. And I believe in bringing stuff back and celebrating it, but please learn from my mistakes.
Okay.
You do not need to wear shirts covered in fake street art.
Okay. Fake street art.
Fake.
Okay.
Buy real street arts. Buy real artists. Buy graffiti your own fucking shirts. You don't need some guy that didn't want to be a pharmacist doodling on a pad and then go, "I'll sell it to kids for $50.
Mark Echo wasn't an artist. He was a mogul.
He was more about.
He was a mogul.
He was more about the enterprise than he was about the product.
Okay.
So that was one thing that please don't get involved in.
Okay.
I beg you.
Is Supreme the next iteration of Echo?
Well, here's my problem.
Here's the thing with young white kids or white guys are always going to want to get in on this. Unfortunately, they can't stay away.
Supreme is now trying to be bought by Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah. This is a pattern of just white guys want to get in on this.
Mark Zuckerberg is trying to buy Supreme because Mark Zuckerberg learned something. As we know, he said, "You know what's cooler than $1 million? $1 billion." And And then he realized that's not cool at all. So he said,
You know what's cooler than $1 billion? Supreme.
Fuck, let me figure out what's cool. $1 billion wasn't cool at all. Oh, shit. Mark is just at home and goes, I thought $1 billion would be cool. I thought $1 billion would be cool. Just sweating his ass off because at the end of the day, Mark Zuckerberg just wants to be cool. So what does a billionaire do to try to be cool? They buy a brand that was popular 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They buy a brand that was popular 10 years ago.
They don't realize that that's not what makes them cool. That's actually what makes them the least cool.
I can't. What's he gonna buy fidget spinners next?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he's just completely missing the point.
And so, rather than, it's like the kid that you grew up with that you didn't want to hang out with, but had a lot of money, so you go over their house.
Okay,
that's what Mark Zuckerberg is trying to be.
Okay,
he goes, if you won't like me, I'll buy the things you like.
Yeah,
I'll buy the things you like, and then you'll be forced to like me.
Yeah.
Right, but you're gonna just not make it. You're just gonna ruin it.
He doesn't realize that that's not what makes him cool. That's not where cool lies. The coolest job I ever had was a lifeguard. I tell people I'm a lifeguard now. I get the best response out of any other job I've ever had.
Because people know how to respond.
Yeah,
people don't know how to respond when. What did you do before?
I worked at J.P. Morgan.
But what did you do? Someone asked me, and I said you moved numbers.
I worked in risk.
You worked in risk.
Yeah.
I got nothing to say about that.
I worked in like risk, middle off. It was like really just it was boring. It was talking to people that were IT developers and then talking to people who set margins for high whatever risk clients and then like making sure that the platform was good. And being kind of like a middleman between those two parties and developing new apps and technology to serve our risk needs. Which was boring.
Oh my God! Science just discovered a new melatonin. It's Robbie explaining his own job.
Exactly. That's well, I used to say I worked for a bank, and it was like it wasn't even like a cool, like a sex, like investment bank, or like no. Which I don't think those are good jobs and whatever. But at the time, there's like a sexy job to working in finance. I was not in a sexy job, and I was not in like a nerdy job. I was kind of just in like the middle management kind of situation.
So yeah, I get that. Yeah, and this guy just
cool.
wants to be cool.
Yeah,
and literally that's why they use that phrase in a social network. You know what's cooler than $1 million? Because they don't care about. It's more. It should be. It's even more powerful.
I see.
They use the word cool for a reason. Because all these people are just trying to achieve cool through money.
Yes, I don't think it's possible.
You know what the coolest guy is?
Who?
The guy at the skate park that wears the same jeans every day and smokes rolled cigarettes because he can't afford the real packs.
Yeah. That's where I grew up. My high school was across the street from a skate park. So that's my understanding of cool as well, if I'm being real with you. And I wasn't that. But
no.
That was what was cool.
I think that these guys missed that mark.
Yeah.
So
that exact person won Homecoming King the year before, like the year
probably
ahead of me.
didn't even want to.
No, of course not.
Probably didn't even want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Couldn't give a shit.
But he won. It was cool. He was cool.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't want Homecoming.
100%.
Yeah, okay. And he kind of walked up slow to the mic to receive it.
100%. Yeah, you met the Homecoming King of my year when we were going to. Did that guy seem like he at all cared about winning Homecoming King?
When did I meet him?
When we were going to Portugal.
Oh,
he was at the airport. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No,
I mean, I wouldn't know. I mean, he was an adult.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Once somebody's an adult.
If I met anyone.
Sure, but he was so nonchalant. Like,
no, I know.
It was not like he didn't say vote for, like, not at all. That was not the vibe at all.
It would be fun to meet a guy who was an adult that had energy that I want to win Homecoming. I think there is a cringy nature to that. To buying cool. You can't buy cool. You can't
The least cool thing you can do is try to be cool.
Try to buy it. Trying to buy it is the most embarrassing thing you could do.
Yeah,
and people do, and that's what I think the biggest secret about capitalism is that you can't buy cool.
Yes,
if that's what they're trying to hide more than anything.
Yeah.
The government probably pushes our clips down and tries to hide it because we preach you can't buy cool.
Yes.
And that will destroy capitalism.
Yeah, it will.
Because once you realize that you can't buy coolness,
yes,
what the fuck is the point of a new t-shirt?
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, people need to realize.
What is the point of you buying a trampoline for the yard?
Yeah.
Unless you want to have fun with it.
Yes. You need to find cool within yourself and then let it speak to you. And then inform it from there.
Because nothing is cooler than someone that authentically being themselves.
100%.
So, I want to say this. I officially now have a new green flag for a person.
Okay, I love that.
A green flag for if this person's awesome.
Okay.
If they have a wild, obnoxious, free laugh. If their laugh feels so... it's a green flag for me. Because that means that they're prioritizing themselves having fun and being free over how they're perceived.
Yeah.
To have a wild laugh, you should never judge a person on them because they're prioritizing themselves being a free spirit and enjoying the moment over going like this. A tee girl, a ha 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 girl or boy disappear.
Yes.
I want someone that wants to enjoy themselves so much that they look like a fucking seal.
Okay.
I want them to not even be a human being when I want them to have a laugh that people turn and go, I thought something was happening.
Okay.
For me, that's a green flag because something is happening. A person is authentically themselves.
Yes. I love that. It's interesting that it took you this long to come to this realization. I feel like you have one of the most iconic laughs of all time. People send me videos all the time and they go, I thought Sebastian was in this video because I heard the laugh. I think you laugh very free and it's not ugly, but you have an iconic, memorable, free laugh.
Because I allow myself to be
Which
free.
I love. I love that.
You know what?
What?
It was ugly when I was younger.
It was?
But now I've let it be so free that it's not ugly.
It's not ugly.
That's what happens.
Yeah. I like that. That's a good lesson.
Because you let it grow into what it ultimately is.
A beautiful laugh like that is one of the most comforting things in the world. My friend Steve, I think, also has a very big, iconic laugh. And I've had friends like either be in the audience and he's in a show and they're like, oh, I didn't know Steve was going to be there. Made my day hearing his laugh.
Well, here's the thing.
And people will say the same thing about you, I would say. I love Sebastian's laugh. I'm obsessed with his laugh. We used to do the clips, and I would have a little snippet of your laugh at the end.
I know. I remember. I forgot that. So I think for me is no person is worse than a person that's like, I'm a hard laugh. I don't laugh easily. Oh, really?
Yeah.
What else do you like to do? Hold shit in your ass? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Why aren't you allowing yourself to freely feel joy?
Yes.
And I like to. You're fighting your instincts.
Yes.
To hurt yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I like to do? I like right before the sneeze comes out, I like to swallow a bunch of water up my nose.
Yes, yes.
Like you're literally forcing it's the edging of fun.
Yes.
What are we doing?
I agree.
You hate yourself more than you hate me. Anyone that says I'm a hard laugh, I go, no, you're a hard human being.
Yes.
You're a human being that's no fun in life.
I agree. When COVID happened and I was reflecting on like whatever the previous years of my life and specifically like doing improv and stuff, I think there was a lot of valuable lessons that I took out of doing improv in New York City. But the number one lesson that I learned was the power of the fake laugh, which I think is really just more like laugh more. Well, like you have to kind of laugh in these classes, and it's just like laugh more. And the more you're laughing and the more you're in that I'm laughing kind of state, people like you more. You're just in it's a more enjoyable conversation. Life is just better when you're allowing yourself to laugh.
It's not a fake laugh. You're allowing yourself.
That's kind of what I said fake laugh to be like, whatever.
People don't understand that.
But allowing yourself, being in the mindset where you're like, I'm going to laugh at stuff is so, so, so valuable.
It actually makes your life better.
It makes your life better. It makes people like you more. It makes people want to hang out with you more. It makes things around you start to become funnier too. And you're like, oh, I could laugh at that. I should laugh at myself. And you kind of just start to notice more things that deserve to be laughed at.
I feel so bad when someone gets embarrassed because they say I'm an easy laugh.
Oh, I love that.
What are you telling me? You're an easy laugh? What do you mean? That life is good for you?
Yeah.
That you enjoy experiences?
We talk about this all the time where I feel like we'll describe a person and I'll be like, they love to laugh. I like them. You love them. Like that is a distinct trait that I do look for in people is that they like to laugh.
Well, here's the thing. It's not like if I'm going out, I don't laugh at people.
Yeah.
100%. I laugh.
Yeah.
I always like to go out and laugh.
There's also nothing better than like someone that you could call and you're gonna get a big reaction out of them. It's like, oh, I have this story that you're gonna go crazy. You know what I mean?
Well,
you're gonna scream.
Reacting.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how you know that someone's real. Or else you might as well just have a fucking podcast and look directly to cam.
I guess. I guess so. But I really think that is incredible advice. Is just like laugh more and allow yourself to laugh more.
Also, a free laugh. Someone
Yes.
that like you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna look stupid. My teeth are gonna look jacked up when I open my mouth. My breath might smell, but I don't care because I'm experiencing joy and I'm sharing it with the world.
Yeah.
When someone gives me a tee hee hee, a tee hee hee is an ultimate red flag.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
That means because not only is it fake, it's controlled, and you don't enjoy yourself.
Yes. Yeah, to knowingly turn down your laugh is wild. Like somebody who snorts when they laugh, iconic. One of the
I wheeze
hottest girls in
sometimes.
when I was younger, like in my high school days, for some reason we dated for like 3 weeks, and she would snort when she laughed, and it was like she was the hot girl, and she would snort when she laughed. I thought it was so cute,
And everyone else did.
and I liked it.
And everyone else is worried about how they're perceived, and
Yeah.
she's worried about having a good time.
Yeah.
That's so.
And then when
fucking
you
awesome.
uncontrollably, people that are able to uncontrollably laugh and snort or whatever, my friend one time made me laugh so hard it altered my laugh. And I was laughing like in a new way for like 6 months. I laughed so fucking hard.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
You couldn't laugh the right way after that joke.
I couldn't.
You were-
It wasn't even a joke. It was a story. Yeah, it was a story where he was on set and a
Don't tell-
big
don't tell it,
celebrity.
don't tell
I
it.
won't tell the whole. I'm not
'Cause it
gonna
won't
drop
s-
names, but
It won't. Sometimes it's gonna be better inside of you.
sure, yeah. I could say the premise. I think the premise isn't funny, but
Okay.
we don't. It was big celebrity. He's on set doing a scene, and the guy just did his lines instead of like my friend's lines. So then he would go and be like, "Hey, those are my lines. Actually, you're supposed to say this."
Stealing his lines.
And then he would just kept doing his line. He was like, "Oh, don't worry about it, brother. I got you. I got you." Did his lines again, and the scene required someone else. The third person in the scene was a child who was hysterically crying. So they needed to move it. Like the kid's only gonna cry for so long.
And
So they did 2 takes, and the guy stole the scenes both times, and he got cut out of the movie. And his
Damn.
response in the movie is just like, "Fuck, this guy's doing my." And the other guy's a massive celebrity, and he's
Sure.
a day player
Yeah.
on this movie.
they don't care.
No, they don't care.
Here's
But
the
it's
thing.
just so funny. Like came off the jet and just did his scene.
Even
Hungover.
even famous actors are just like, they still got that ego.
Yeah,
They want to make sure they
Yeah.
have the scene.
yeah. And then he later auditioned for this role that he would have had to make out with that actor. That was the scene. So that was the whole tied around the story. But
Incredible.
yeah, he told me, and he's a great storyteller, but it altered my laugh completely.
Well, anyways, so I'm noticing people's laughs.
Yeah,
I'm out here.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, I like freedom in you being yourself. There's nothing more beautiful in this world than you being yourself. Do not fight who you are. Embrace it. We love it. You love it. Beautiful.
I think your life will change if you just start laughing more. I'm not even like 100% your life will change if you're just like, I'm going to allow myself to laugh more, and I'm going to find more things funny and be a little more observant and try to just laugh more.
that's really beautiful.
I really think that your life will change.
Well, this was wonderful. Thank you so much for everyone that's listening. If you want, you could share the podcast with someone. That would really mean the world to us. That's truly one of the best things that you could do for us. Also, if you are financially able to, if you want to jump over to the Patreon, and here we're putting out episodes over there where we talk a little more in depth about stuff, things that we might not be willing to share on the or put out to the general public. We share over there. So if you want to check out the Patreon, that would mean the world to us, or just share an episode with a friend, or just keep listening, whatever. It's beautiful. Laugh more, people.
I also have a show August 10th, September 7th. I'm doing my show where I read a love note diary book that I wrote my ex-girlfriend when I was 17 years old. The premise of the show is pretty much to make fun of me and laugh at me. So speaking about laughing at yourself and laughing about the world. The show's been fun. Please come out to the show. It's a small room. And they've been a lot of fun. The thing is wild. And if you talk about a millennial story, it is very much of the time period, specifically to 2011. It's such a 2011 story, and it's been very fun to relive. Is it not very 2011? You
I
did
don't know
the show.
what that 2011 is, but it's that era.
It's very much.
It's very funny to pick 2011.
That's just what it is. That's
specifically.
the year that I graduated. Like, I'm excited to do it again.
If you love the year 2011 between February and April, come out to Rob's
February
show.
And December. Yeah, Disney World. There's a lot of just things that were happening in
Your
2011
specificity
are
was
the
funny.
backdrop of the show. And it's a lot of fun. The show's been a lot of fun. I'm excited booking
check
it
it out.
out now, and I have exciting people that I want to do the show. So
Beautiful. All right, Robbie, hit the music.